Good morning, dear students. Today, let me welcome you to this next session of correct use of pronouns. And in our previous two classes, we have been discussing about this topic, correct use of pronouns, and we have understood a lot of instructions how correctly we will use pronouns in our statements, speeches, and in our text. And today also we will understand some more such instructions for using pronouns correctly in our speech. And we will understand about them today. And before understanding the other instructions, let's have a little concentration. And for concentration, we should have Brahmanath. Let's sit Siddha with Dhyana Mudra and have Brahmanath. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Relax. Dear student, let me again welcome the 9th class student to this session of English 2 to discuss more such instructions associated with the correct use of pronouns. And in the previous classes, we already discussed several instructions. Based on that, we understood how we can use pronouns correctly in our statements. Today also, we will understand some other rules how we can use pronouns correctly in our sentence. For that, let me write some instructions over here so that we can better understand. Okay? Today, after understanding several instructions for using correct use of pronouns, here is another instruction, number 8 instruction. What it says, let's understand. See, a pronoun must agree with its antecedent. A pronoun must agree with its antecedent. Antecedent means what? The word to which it refers back. That means some words the pronoun refers back what exactly the word in person, its number, and in gender. Whether it is a masculine gender or feminine gender, whether it is a singular number or a plural number, whether it is a person, that means first person, second person, or third person. In accordance to that, in accordance to the antecedent which is referred back by the pronoun, the pronouns should be used. Okay, so now here are some examples given. Let's understand. So all passengers is talking about the plural number. Okay, so all passengers must show here their ticket. The pronoun is there because it is talking about a plural subject. That means they. Understand? So this is called the antecedent. So the pronoun refers back to this. Therefore, in accordance to this person, number, and gender of this antecedent, the pronoun we have used is there. Okay, next, every man. Here you are talking about a man. Man is a person, singular person. The next example, every man must bear his. You see, the antecedent over here is the man. Therefore, this pronoun refers back to the man. Every man is a singular number. person. Again its gender is male, therefore we have written is over here. Otherwise, if this antecedent refers to its feminine gender, we could have written her. Understand? So this is how we can use pronouns correctly. Next you see, each of the girls. Here you see, each of the girls. So each of the girls means, here it refers to the singular number, and again its gender is feminine gender, and a person means it is third person. So therefore we have used the pronoun her. Understand? So each of the girls showed her homework. Next, I am one of those who believe everything they hear. So here we have taken the antecedent is those. So those means it is a plural number. Okay, and we don't know their gender. It includes both feminine and masculine gender, and therefore we have used in accordance to this antecedent. We have used the pronoun they. Understand? So, from this instruction we understood a pronoun must agree with its antecedents in person, number, and gender. Understand? Okay, so let's understand the next step of such instruction. Let me write. Here the ninth of such instructions for using pronouns correctly. Let's understand that. What is it here? The indefinite pronoun one. Only one is one of the pronouns, so which is a indefinite pronoun. Understand? We will understand that, and before that also we did understand, and one day we will again understand about what exactly the indefinite pronouns clearly. But here you see, one is an indefinite pronoun. Okay, the indefinite pronouns one should be used throughout. That means if we have used the indefinite pronoun one at the beginning of the statement or at the starting of the statement, not at all starting, at the subject form, subject place or some other places, then we cannot use other pronouns. We can use only the same pronoun one in every place we have mentioned in our statement. That means the indefinite pronoun will be used everywhere in our sentence if is used once. Okay, so the indefinite pronoun one should be used throughout if used at all. Understand? So now let's understand from these examples. One must not boast of one's own success. Here you see we have used one at the beginning. That means a person, one, must not boast of one's own success. That means one should not always tell that I am good, I am the best, I do everything good. That means giving more self-respect is not necessary, is not good. That means the instruction says one must not boast of one's. That means here it is a possessive use. The pronoun using here is the possessive, one's own success. One should not boast of one's own success. So here also we used one. Next is one must, here is one must use one's best effort. That means someone must use his best efforts. But we did not use someone, we have used only one. So since it is an indefinite pronoun, wherever it is necessary, we have to use one or once if it is a possessive case. So we have used it here as well throughout the text. Can't one do what one likes with one's own? Can't someone do what does he likes of himself? That means, but here we are not using this. We are replicating the same indefinite pronoun one to repair this. So it is used everywhere in our text. We cannot substitute other pronouns with this one. Similarly, one cannot be too careful about what one does. Okay, so when someone does something, he or she cannot be more careful about his own work. That means this. So here, since indefinite pronoun one is used, so we have used one everywhere in the text, throughout the text, if it is used at all. Understand? So this is the indefinite pronoun once used should be used everywhere in our statement if it refers to. Okay? So let's understand the next instruction. Let's understand the 10th such instructions to use pronouns correctly. What this instruction tells us, let's understand. So what is this? When the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun, when the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun, so relative pronoun means who, that and which. We know the relative pronouns are pronouns which are creating relations between two clauses and statements as well as functioning as a pronoun and a relative. So they are relative pronouns. Care should be taken to see the verb agrees in number. Here we should understand the verb should agree with the number of the antecedent. Antecedent means the subject we refer back. Okay, so here you see person with an antecedent. In number and person with the antecedent. Let's understand from this example. This is one of the novels. Here we have taken novels. What it says? That means subject of a verb is that. So what the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun. Here the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun. What happens? So therefore the subject is a relative pronoun. After the subject the verb comes. So what happens? It is related with these novels. Because novels it refers as the antecedent over here. So therefore we have used are as a plural verb because it is a relative pronoun and it refers its antecedent over here is the novels is a plural subject, the plural one. Therefore, we have used are. It agrees with this antecedent. So this is the one of the novels that are worth reading. Okay, so there are a lot of novels which are worth reading. From among one we are talking about. But here the antecedent is a plural subject and the verb is the subject of the verb is that which is a relative pronoun. Understand? So let's understand. He is one of the boys. Okay? So here he is one of the boys. He is one of the boys. Here who means is a relative pronoun. Who is functioning as a subject. And after this verb is there here. So though it is verb and after this the antecedent it refers is plural. Therefore we have used have over here. Had we thought it is singular, had it been a singular, we would have used a singular verb after the relative pronoun. Understand? So next thing is this is the only one of these points. This is the only one. Here, of his points, this is only one. Understand? So, that is used as a subject. So, we are talking about one of his poems. One of his poems. So, therefore, we have used the singular verb over here after the relative pronoun, because we are the antecedent over here. This is one of only one. So since it is one, it is called antecedent. So here, according to this antecedent, we have used this verb that agrees with the antecedent and used after the relative pronoun. So from this rule, don't be confused. If you go through carefully, you can better understand. So when the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun, that means who, that or which, care should be taken to see that verb agrees in number. So the verb agrees in number. Therefore, in accordance to this number, we have used the verb to agree with its subject. Understand? Okay, let's understand the next rule. Here, the next rule, that means the 11th rule for a correct use of pronouns. Let's understand. What it says, if different personal pronouns are to be used together. When we have been using a different personal pronouns together, so like first person, second person and third person, in what sequence we should use them in our statement, that is the rule. So, what should be the order of using these personal pronouns if used together? Let's understand. Here you see, first we will use the second person, that means you. Then we will use the third person, that means he, she or it. Similarly, the last is the first person, that means I and we. We must use. If all these personal pronouns are used in one sentence, then we should mention first the second person, then third person, and then the first person. You see, the orders should be first person, so first should be the second person, then second should be the third person, and last should be the first person. So, in second person, we have a personal pronoun you, so third person we have she, he and it. Similarly, first person is I and we. So when all such personal pronouns have been used in one statement, our mentioning of these personal pronouns in order should be like this. Second, third and first person, in such a way. The example for this is given over here. Let's understand. You, he and I, that means the second, third and first person, will accompany the girl. So, you, he and I will accompany the girl. So, second person, third person and first person. More than one personal pronouns if used together in our statements, then the order should be followed. First, second, we must use the second person, then third person and the first person. So, the example says, you, he and I will accompany the girl. Similarly, another example is given. You, they and we. You, they and we. That means the second person, third person and the first person have scored a victory. You, they and we have scored a victory. Understand? So similarly, what happens normally, when there are more personal pronouns used together in our statement, we have been following the second person first, then third person, then the first person. But here is also some constraints, some reservations, That means we cannot often use like this. This is the normal use of pronouns when there are more personal pronouns are used. But the limitations are there. If the statements mentioning some problem, some negative things, that means some not normality, abnormality, means some problems you can say. That means in that case we can use the reverse. That means we will use first, third and second person. For example, you see, but use in reverse order. Reverse order means this is order. 3, 2 and 1 is reverse order. That means descending order. Here is the ascending order we have used. First, second person, third person and first person. When we talk about when the sentence mentions any problem, then we have to use first person first, then third person, then second person. So let's understand. See, but use in reverse order if there is a mention of faults, some faults. When there is a mention of some faults, some lacunas. So in that case, so due to some fault we have some problem, in that case we have to use them reversely. That means first will be the first person, then third person, then second person will come. But normally we use second person, third person and first person. Let's understand the examples given over here. I, he and you. That means I is first person, he is third person and you is second person are responsible for this loss. Loss means what? When we have fault, we have loss. This loss is mentioning our fault. Therefore, when it comes to the loss, we have to use the personal pronouns in reverse order, not as in normal order. Okay? So similarly, we, they and you will be punished for it. We have mistaken, we did disturbance in the classroom. Therefore, when the mention of the punishment comes over there, it is a fault. Excuse me. Therefore, so we have used at first the first person, then we used third person, then we used the second person. So what happened? We, they and you will be punished for this mischief, for it. Understand? So when the rule is here, that means the instruction over here is that normally if different personal pronouns are to be used together in our statement, we must not forget there is a sequence of using personal pronouns in our statement. Is first normally, first we use the second person, second we use third person and last we use the first person. But if there is the mention of fault, we use the reverse. That means we use first the first person, then we use third person, then we use second person as mentioned in those examples given over here. Okay? And here we have understood several other instructions using the pronouns correctly in our speeches and in our statements and text. Okay? Not only this, there are some more such instructions still available which we will discuss next class. Today only you refer this. I don't want to put you in confuse. I only suggest and advise you, since we have started this topic correct use of pronouns, this class is the third period of correct use of pronouns. I wish everyone must sequentially see those videos are being sent to you time to time, particularly on certain days, and then you can better understand and clearly understand. If you have any problem, you can call back to me or you can clarify your doubts in the doubt clearance classes as well. If you can't clarify, you can also personally contact me. I will try to clarify your doubts. But I wish everyone must see the videos are being sent. This is the third period of correct use of pronouns, and there will be another 1 or 2 periods to complete this, including the exercises we will have in next and subsequent classes. Till now, only up to this much you must read and try to understand. Write in your notebooks. I have already sent you the photocopies of the subject of the topic, its rules, instructions, including the exercises to you during the second period, and you go through and try to understand. For problems, you can contact me to clarify anytime. And I wish you should everyone watch these videos in sequence and positively give your comments on that. And we will be very happy to see your comments. If you like them, you can like as well. And for today, only this much. Next class, we will discuss some more rules for correct use of pronouns, and we will also understand the exercise following to the rules. For today, only this much.